The Halo franchise has long differed itself from its peers by being a shooter that is more oriented around player performance than it is about simply being using the best guns and tools available. Being a game that has traditionally forced all players to at least start each life with everyone using the same guns, players naturally have to develop skills that allow them to overcome that fact. And over its nearly 20-year history, each Halo game has taken a different approach to this concept, this forced development of skill that Halo requires. But regardless of the approach, every Halo game suffers from one very harsh reality. Halo is simply just harder to play than many of its FPS contemporaries. But in Halo Infinite, 343 may have finally broken this curse. I'm the Home Slice, Ascend Period. And in today's video, I want to have a brief discussion on why Halo is far from an intuitive or easy to pick up game, and then I want to follow that with what 343 is doing in Halo Infinite to try to even the playing field between new and veteran players. Like always, be sure you stick around for my question at the end, and after this video, you need to go follow me on Twitter. Let's get this started. Okay, so in reality, we could be here for at least an hour while I break down all the little intricate things that separate Halo from other FPS titles, and which of those things contribute to the skill disparity it imposes on new players. We're not gonna do that, so get ready for the lightning round. Unlike many other FPS games, Halo doesn't rely solely on its weapon inventory to fully define its combat experience. In Halo, players have to have a pretty versed handle on the game's movement and health system to perform well. Compared to games like COD or Battlefield, in Halo, it takes quite a bit of time to actually kill a player, and it only extends longer once a player starts maneuvering to dodge shots and avoid damage. What I'm saying is that in COD, a guy isn't likely to literally run towards you during a fight and jump over your head like a snippet out of Space Jam, but in Halo this is actually a common occurrence. While many other FPS games allow players to unlock and indefinitely use better and better guns while playing, in Halo each player has to start each life with the same gun, so from a damage perspective you have nothing better than anyone else. So what really matters is how you do that damage. Players are then pressed to figure out what ways to best manipulate all their abilities to deal damage the most efficiently and the most accurately, all while also being sure they're performing in a way that makes them as hard to kill as possible. This leads to skills like strafing, crouch shotting, canceling, the list goes on. But here's the really important thing. These are all skills. And what are skills developed over? Time. At this point, Halo is a 20-year-old franchise, and there are some people who have been developing these skills for legit that long. Even a shorter advantage of just several months on MCC could put players at a massive advantage against brand new players. And it isn't just an issue because you need to figure it all out, it's also an issue because the games, up until now, have never made any hard and fast effort to teach new players how to play. And I don't mean teach them press X to reload teach them. Any teaching about how Halo has to be played has been totally peer-to-peer. Chances are we've all had someone who was the person who taught us how about strafing, 3-shotting, BXRing, or ninjaing, or whatever. But up until this point of peer-to-peer learning, you're just sort of got to figure it out on your own. How each Halo title handles this skill disparity is a little different too. For example, Halo 2 and Halo 5 are easily two of the most unforgiving Halo multiplayer experiences. Both have a primary focus on appealing to and rewarding the gameplay experience of skilled players. Inversely, both games don't give a shit about a new kid is literally getting curb stomped, because the corrective action would just be get better. Games like Halo Reach and Halo 4 take a more arcade approach by having a ton of gimmicks and quirks that give new players more chances to experiment and get lucky doing so. This, however, comes at the expense of the quality of the higher level play. But with Halo Infinite, 343 is implementing something unseen in Halo's 20-year multiplayer history, something that could change the experience of new players for the better. 343 is adding bots to multiplayer. Confused as to how these two topics intersect? Let me explain. Never before has there been a naturally integrated way for players to experience Halo's multiplayer without being weighed against other players. So to say, even if you launched the most casual arena playlist in any Halo game, you still have to compete against living, breathing players. With the introduction of bots to Halo, 343 has created an avenue for opportunity for new players to experience the game from a multiplayer perspective, but potentially at a degree of competency they can set manually. So like, if you are a brand new player to Halo and you just want to figure out how those guns function in the multiplayer experience, you'd have to do that against a real player typically. But now you can just launch a bot match and just test stuff out, free of interference. 343 is also introducing the Academy, which appears to be an interactive in-game experience designed to train new or returning players on the fundamentals and complexities of Halo's multiplayer experience. And if you're a veteran fan, you might have some big-headed opinions ready to type out about how the good old days and how back in your day we had to blah blah blah, but as someone who's also a veteran Halo fan, let me say this. We needed this because we're gonna need this. Halo, the franchise, needs new players. It needs to hook a new generation of fans, and if bot matches and the Academy mode allow new players to prepare themselves to face people who have been sweating through their teeth playing these games for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years, well, I'm all for it. And I want to talk about something that is more theory than it is hard fact right now. On July 23rd, 343 announced the first public flight of Halo Infinite is going to feature a bot versus mode only, meaning 4 allied players will face off against 4 bots. And if you're worried about it being boring, I think you're about to be surprised. When we're talking about bots, I'm not talking about the Black Ops 1 bots. I think the Halo Infinite bot system is going to be using learning AI technology. Similar to the learning AI packed inside the amiibo figures for Smash Bros, I think 343 has developed a learning AI for Halo that is going to be analyzing how Halo is played. And while 343 could sit in their office and tinker with it internally as much as they wanted, what if they, instead, decided they were going to let players teach the AI? I think this first flight is, in part, going to be what teaches the bots how to play Halo. So sometime as early as July 30th, thousands and thousands of Halo players are going to be teaching this AI how to strafe, how to 3-tap, how to crouch shot, reload cancel, ninja, nade jump, I mean the list goes on, so that by the time Halo Infinite comes out, a bot player and a real player would be almost synonymous in delivery. How crazy would that be? So that sort of taxis me into today's question. What does a brand new player need to understand about Halo's gameplay to do good on day one? That's gonna do it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave your comments below, join my Discord, and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later.